Today we'll talk about the 4-day upper-lower training split. After completing the Novice Linear Progression, NLP or Novice LP, this is the most likely training split I would suggest for early intermediate trainees. There are a lot of things that can work for intermediate trainees, but for people who aren't 21 and living in their parents' basement that have no life responsibilities, this is a very good training plan once you've gotten all you can out of the NLP. At the end of the Novice Linear Progression, there are several factors which make continued progress increasingly difficult. First, the trainee has accumulated so much stress that it is no longer possible to fully recover from that stress within the next 24 to 48 hours, i.e. going from Monday to Wednesday. You're always coming into the next training session tired with built-in fatigue. This is especially true with respect to progress on the squat and deadlift, as these movements involve a great deal of muscle mass in the entire body and use much higher loads, relative intensities, when compared to the press and the bench press. However, the opposite problem starts to exhibit itself for the press and the bench press, as the trainee only sees the press and the bench on average of 1.5 times per week. So one week you'll get 2 times for one movement, and the other week you'll get it once. Given the musculature involved and the absolute loads involved for the press and the bench press, these movements are less sensitive to volume and start to need more frequency in order to continue driving progress. Fortunately, the 4-day upper-lower training split helps to address these issues at the cost of decreasing how often we can make progress, that is, only once weekly versus session to session. We can see here the basic layout of the 4-day split, and it has some rules to go along with it. On each of the training days, you start with the intensity movement for that day, and we'll explain a little bit more about what that means. Unless there are some unusual circumstances, we need to have 2 full days between lower body training sessions. The days upon which you train aren't as important as the other rules. So if you needed to start on Tuesday and go Tuesday and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, that would work, provided that you meet the other rules in the list here. Fourth, if anything needs to get cut out, it would be as follows in orders of preference. You'd get rid of accessories first, then cardio, and then volume work. Obviously, if you got down and had to cut out intensity work, then there are other issues that need to be addressed. And the weight on the intensity movement, that moving up is a sign that the training is working. All right, some definitions here as far as what we have. So when I say intensity, we're referencing the intensity movement will generally be variants of the squat, bench, deadlift, and press, which allow the most weight to be loaded onto the bar. This is going to be higher in terms of absolute effort from the standpoint of your overall capacity, and this is the movement where the numbers I want to see them increasing from week to week. When I say intensity under most circumstances, I am referring to how much weight is on the bar. Typically it gets expressed as a percentage of your either theoretical or most recent 1 rep maximums. Volume movements will generally be the same variation as the intensity movement. There may be reason in the future, once you've been on the 4-day split for a while, to start using supplementary movements to work to address weak points, but that isn't typically the starting point. For a volume workout, it's going to be less weight, more reps to help accumulate overall stress. Generally speaking, if you're using the same variation, so just a low bar back squat, it's probably going to be 75 to 80% of the weight compared to whatever was done on the intensity day of that movement within a given week or based off the prior week's numbers. Examples of supplementary movements include, for the squat, say pause squat or pause tempo squat. For bench press, you have pin bench press, close grip bench press, possibly even things like a slingshot bench press. For press, pin press, press starts, deadlift, deficit deadlift, rack pulls, pause deadlift, Romanian deadlifts or straight leg deadlifts. And accessory movements are there to help us accumulate stress, but they aren't overly taxing. So it could be movements with dumbbells, body weight movements such as chin-ups, dips, push-ups, anything with a machine if you're training in a commercial gym, or any sort of movement that gets loaded instead of with a dumbbell with a band. Those would be typical accessory movements. So going to be your curls, barbell curls, easy bar curls, dumbbell curls, different curl variations, preacher curls, hammer curls, all of these types of things. Last, I wanted to give an example. If you didn't want to move to a 4-day-a-week split, it is possible to do a 3-day per week, 4-day split. What ends up happening is that it just occurs over a 4-week cycle, wherein you start over again on the 5th week. And here's just a sample of had a gentleman training on a 3-day split during the NLP, and he trained Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You could maintain that schedule. This would not be optimal, certainly, but it is possible to do this if you needed to go down to a 3-day per week, 4-day split. Have any questions? Let me know. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one.